All right, so I started the recording. The recording will be available on our AIAP YouTube channel later on. So I'm talking about this Adobe Lightroom. So this is the home screen which you will see when you will open the Adobe Lightroom first time. Of course, you will not be able to see these photographs which you are looking right now because I have already added them. But once you open the Adobe Lightroom, you will see these two options. One is something called cloud and second is called local. So cloud is basically if you add images in the cloud, it will get saved on your Adobe Creative Cloud storage. So as you know, all of you get a 1 TB of cloud storage, Adobe Creative Cloud storage. So whatever image you will add in the cloud section, those images will get saved in your cloud data cloud drive, Creative Cloud Drive. What is the benefit of that? The benefit is that Adobe Lightroom also have a mobile application. So you can use your mobile application to use Adobe Lightroom and all the photographs which you will save in the Adobe Cloud will also be accessible on your the Lightroom mobile application also, or maybe vice versa. Let's say you have a mobile application and on your Android phone or iOS phone, and you captured any photograph with the help of Lightroom, and that photograph will automatically get saved in your Creative Cloud storage. And once you go home and open your computer, that photograph will be visible in this particular section in your image library. So to add any photo, simply drag and drop, or you can also click this button, which is add photo. By clicking this button, you can add multiple photos, or you can also drag and drop. The photographs will get added. So that was the cloud part. The local is if you have images which is saved in your computer, then you can access those images from the browse section. So I can go in browse, I can access my drive from here, and then from here I'm able to access my folder wherever I have saved my images. If you have connected your memory card of your, let's say, your DSLR camera, then that memory card will also be visible here. Now, if there is any particular folder on in which you saved all your images, you can mark that folder as a favorite by clicking on this star button. Once you mark that folder as favorite, every time when you will open Lightroom, you do not have to browse that particular folder. That folder will automatically be visible inside the favorite section. For example, I have already marked one of my image folder as a favorite. Now I do not need to go inside browse and then go on to the desktop, find that folder where that folder is. And so I do not have to spend my time in finding that folder in browsing. What I can do once I find it once, I will make it favorite and it will be visible in the favorite section. And you can have multiple folders as your favorite, which you can access at any time. So this was the local part, the local drive, which is your computer or laptop drive, and the first one is the cloud drive, which is your Creative Cloud storage. Now, so that's about the how you can browse the images inside the Adobe Lightroom. Now let's come on to the management part of these images. So Lightroom is also a great platform for cataloging your images. Back in time when I was in the movie industry, I worked on one movie project where I used the Adobe Lightroom as my catalog platform. The entire team used Adobe Lightroom as a catalog platform to look after all the images which we have captured on location, or maybe some film related shot which we have done. We have put it in the Lightroom and make it a catalog inside Lightroom only. So it's a great platform from that front also. Now, if you can see, once you add your photo, you can search for your photo by date, by people. What I mean by people, basically it will enable, we are using an AI feature, just like in your phone you have a feature which will detect your face and it create a separate library by identifying those faces. So that same feature is available here also. Simply enable the people detection, and what it will do, it will create a separate you can say sort of a folder or a collection related to that particular person. So it is a sort of a great way to manage multiple photos if you are capturing a lot of human faces or lot of portraits if you are capturing that. Recently added will showcase you all the images which you have recently added. I haven't added anything. These all are old. You can see it will have all the timestamps. So maybe on July 5th, 21, I added 4 photographs. On November 11, 22, I added 1 photograph. So whenever you will add photographs to Adobe Lightroom, it will create a timestamps for you. And through that, you will able to access those photographs. If you want to access all the photographs, simply click on all photos, and with that you will able to do that. So this is one thing which is already pre-created filter options which we are providing. Then you have an option for creating a album also. So maybe you can create an album. Let me just click here. Let's say people, okay, and I will create one album. So all the people's photograph will come here. Then I will create one more album. Maybe let's say nature. So this is my another album. And what I can do, I can simply select my photograph, drag and drop on that album, and that photograph will get saved in that particular album. So simply like I can see once you drag, it will highlight which in which album do you want to save your photo. So it is more from a management point of view. You can manage your images in separate folder which you are creating. We do provide you option to create a shared folder. So if there is any file, because since all these images are on the cloud, you can share these images or the entire album with any of your colleague. I like you can see on my screen, I have one image which is shared by one of my colleague, and the date and time is already mentioned here. So you can create a shared folder, or you can also share file with any of your colleague also. So that also you can do with your images. Now to share any file, you make sure that file need to be saved in the Creative Cloud storage and not in a local drive. It has to be moved from the local drive to your Creative Cloud storage so that you can share that with your colleague or maybe any other editor with whom you want to share it. So that's on the side panel. Then we also have something related to rating of the images. So here you can see at the bottom in this Lightroom panel, if I come at the bottom, we have something called these 5-star rating kind of a thing. So as a photographer, I can mark which photographs are good, which photographs are bad. So suppose if I select this photograph, I can say this is 4-star photograph. This one is the 5-star photograph. Maybe this one is the 2-star photograph. So I can provide this rating. Now how what this rating will going to help you, basically when you are searching for any image on this top. So what you can do, one thing, either you can write what you are looking for, what image you are looking for, or you can also use the filter option. So in filter option, I want to see any image which is marked at 3 star. So I will select 3 star, and these two images are visible here. Maybe minimum three or maximum to that. Maybe if I select 2 star, then these three images will be visible. If I select 5 star, only one image is visible here. So this is all about searching and sorting inside Adobe Lightroom. So suppose you have 10,000 images or 5,000 images, and you are looking for all the images which you have marked as 5-star rating, then simply select this and you will able to see all those images. So that's one thing. The another option which we have, if you want to remove all the ratings, simply click on that rating again, and it will get removed. So I will click on this and it will get removed. We do have two more options. One is this flagging option. So you can also mark as a flag. So flag as picked, and the second one is flagged as rejected. So if any image which you want to reject, simply select that image. Let's say if I select this image and I can mark this as flag as rejected, you can see. So this option will again help you to, at the time of filtration, you can filter all the images which are marked as rejected. So similarly, if there is an image which you have marked as picked, then that image will be visible whenever you choose the filter option marked as picked. All right, so these are some various options related to filtration. I would encourage all of you to, after today's session, since it is also getting recorded, install the Adobe Lightroom, play with all these options, see how you are able to create the album, see how you are able to use the filter option to find out any particular images. Okay, now let's get into the editing part, or the how can we edit our images, because that's the main thing which we want to do for any image. So I'll start from the basic and then I'll go on to the more complex one. So let me open this image. Okay, so once you double click on any image, it will get open in a enlarged form like this, and all the other images will come like a film strip at the bottom. So I can toggle between any image like this. I can select this image. So I will select this image, this car one, and lot of options, lot of tools has been given to us on this right hand side. So this is something related with crop. This is something with related to editing. The first one is related to preset. I'll show you there are many preset which we have created, and you can also use those preset. This one is something related with content aware. If you want to remove any object, you can use content aware. Although we have a Photoshop, which is much more powerful application. If you want to remove any object from the image, you can use Photoshop to remove that. But we have the same content aware option inside Lightroom also. In case if there is any small object which you want to remove, you can do it directly in Lightroom also. Then we have a masking option. I'll show you what is this masking option. And then we have a log. This sort of a history kind of icon will show you all the steps which you have followed to achieve like your editing result. And you can actually remove those steps also. You can undo also that thing. So that is something will be visible here. We'll go through each of these tools today. And of course, we have a limited time today. I'll not be able to go each and every tool in depth, but I'll give you a broad idea of how this Lightroom application works, and then you can explore in your free time various tool of this particular application. So first of all, let's see the preset. So we have already created a lot of preset. I opened the preset panel here, and you can see you have some premium presets, and then you have yours preset. If you have created any preset, you can save that also. So in premium, if we go here, you can see. So you just need to hover on these names, and the output will be visible here. So let me just show you here. In the recommended one, it is actually analyzing your image. You can see here. It's an AI-driven feature, so it will recognize your image and it will provide you some recommended preset. So you can see here, I can apply any of these. So you do not need to click, simply hover your mouse pointer to see the preview. So this is my first option. This is the original one. This is first one, second, third. So maybe this one is the black and white one. So whichever I like, I just need to click on it and it will get applied. So maybe I want to go with this black and white. So I will click on it and it will get applied on it. And then I can control the amount, how much I want this particular preset should get applied on my image. Just like if you see your Instagram filter, the filter will also ask you that how much amount of that filter you want to apply on your image. So in the same fashion, we have this amount slider here. I can control the, if I take it the value all the way to 0 or 1, you will see your original image. If I move it to further towards more 100, then in the effect will get multiplied. And if I double click on the slider, it will become to 0 or a neutral. So that's how you can choose various effect for your design, for your photograph which you have captured. If you want to see the complete list, this is the complete list which is available. And these are various kind of a mode which you can select from here and apply on your image. And at any time, if you want to reset your image, then simply right click and there is an option. Let me just show you. It's called reset edit or control R is the shortcut key. Simply press control R and your image will become reset like this. Okay. So one of the good thing of Adobe Lightroom is all the workflow which you will do inside Lightroom is a non sort of a non-destructive workflow, which means that at any time you can go back to your original image. Doesn't matter what effect you will apply. Let's say if I apply some random effect here, let's say this one. Okay. Now I didn't like this. So what you can do, I can simply right click, edit, reset edit, and it will go back to my original. Not only that, even if I close the Lightroom and I open the Lightroom again, I can even then also right click and click the reset button and my image will go back to the original version. So that's the idea of non-destructive workflow. You do not have to worry about that your image will get override or it will get disturbed or it will get like become bad. Nothing will happen. At any time you can reset your image. Unlike in Photoshop, you have to create a copy so that you should not accidentally make it a overwrite on the same image. Okay, so that's about the preset which you can explore it. Now let's come to the actual editing part. Now, before editing, I'll tell you two very important, and many of you who do photography a lot might already aware about. I'm not telling anything new, but a photograph is largely depend on two major parameters, and that is light and color. These are the two parameters which makes your photographs good or bad. And in fact, at the time of clicking a photograph, now when you are clicking your photograph from your mobile phone camera or from your DSLR, doesn't matter. The light is the important thing which play a very major role. And then, of course, the color becomes secondary when you are capturing your photograph. So these are the two major parameters for any photography. And when we say photo editing, or when we say fixing the photograph which you captured from your mobile phone or from your camera, then these are the parameter which you need to fix, light and color. All the other things are cosmetics. Effect is a very cosmetic thing. Detail, detail is basically something related to noise. If your image doesn't have any noise, then there is no problem. Optics is also something related with lens. I'll talk about that also. But when we talk about photo editing or photo color correction, these are the two major parameters, light and color, and we need to understand this only. So let me open the light option here. And in the light, you will find these options: exposure, contrast, highlight, shadow, white, and black. So let me show you in this photograph only what is exposure. Exposure is basically, if you do not know, if you simply hover the mouse pointer, the application will tell you what does it mean by exposure. So even if you are a beginner, the application have a very intuitive interface to explain you how to use a certain parameters. So exposure is to control the brightness of your photo, move left to make the photo darker, move right to make the photo brighter. So if I move towards left, you can see your image will become more darker because there is no light. And if I move right, then it's become more and more brighter. At any time, if you want to reset the parameter, what you can do, simply double click on this circle and the value will become 0. So 0 means your neutral point, or your default position. So this was exposure. Then you have a contrast option. Determine the contrast between light and dark color. So this is how you can control the contrast. So if I zoom in this area, we just slightly zoom out. If I increase the contrast value, you can see the darker area becoming more darker. And if I decreasing the contrast, the darker area is becoming slightly brighter here. And also not only that part, in fact, the overall image also you can see it is impacting the contrast in the overall image. Highlight and shadow. These two things work when there is a shadow in your image and when there is a highlight in your image. Where is the highlight in this image? If I talk about the highlight in this image, this is the highlight. If you see this white, subtle white color, this is a highlight. If you see some shining white area here, this is a highlight. Now, this is the highlight. So, as a photographer, you need to understand in your image what is the highlight area and what is the shadow area. So if I increase the highlight, let me just zoom in here so that it should be visible. You can see I'm able to control the highlight in this particular area. Similarly, if I click on the shadow, shadow will capture this dark area. So you can see. If you are working with the raw images, now many mobile phone also allow you to capture a raw photograph. Raw photograph will have more information of light and color in compared to JPEG image, which we capture from our mobile phone or a DSLR camera. So always try to capture. If you are using DSLR, always capture in raw format, so that it should have more information of light and color, so that when you are moving this slider, you should able to see the difference. So this is, you can see, I can control the shadow also from here. We have a curve also. I can control these things through curve also. So if I want to increase the overall, let's say, brightness, I can do from here. And maybe if I want to create some drama in the image, I'm sure you must have seen many images which look slightly different. So you can do that also. You can play with this curve to achieve a various kind of effect in your image. Now, all these things are also available as a preset, which I showed you in the previous example. Many presets are also available, which you can use it. Now, let me open one image. I'll show you one live example. Most of these images are my own images, which I'm going to show you now. Yeah. So this is one image. It's captured in Manali. And as you can see, it's very, very dark. Okay. When I captured this image, it's not very dark. Actually, my exposure was low in my camera. I put the low exposure, and that's why very less light get into the camera. So what is exposure? Exposure basically, the higher the value of exposure in your camera, the more light will go inside the camera, and the brighter the image will come. Okay, if the exposure value is less, then less light will go inside the camera and the darker image will come. So I actually captured the raw photograph and my exposure value was low. But if I click here, if I increase the exposure value from here, you can see all the details will come out from this particular image. Of course, I will not go all the way to bump up like 100% or 500%, because then it will overexpose. What is meant by overexpose? Basically, you will lose the details of that particular area. You will not be able to see any detail in that area, or you will only able to see white color in that area. So make sure you only increase the value till you are able to see your image. Now, here's one question come. What is the difference between exposure and brightness? Because if I see here, we have an option of, let me just, yeah, we have an exposure option here, okay, which is doing like working like this. And if I come into color, not in light, let me, okay. Okay, so we have removed in the new version, but in the previous version there was a brightness option also, and many people ask this question: what is the difference between brightness and the exposure? Because both, if you move both the slider, it identically work in the same way on the screen, but they are not the same thing. Exposure is something which will imitate what you do in your real camera. Okay, if you increase the exposure value, it will increase your brightness value also. But the brightness slider, if you get in any application like in Photoshop, we have a brightness option. Brightness will not affect the exposure. Brightness is only in software virtual way of increasing the exposure. It's not the real way of increasing the brightness of any image. So exposure is actually related. Exposure is a parameter which is related with your real camera parameter, uh, and brightness is more like your digital parameter. So exposure can affect brightness, but brightness cannot affect exposure. So here you can see I can increase this particular brightness here. Now I can control with contrast also. Now if I increase the contrast, you can see some people at the back, they are visible. If I use the shadow option, if I decrease the shadow, you can see that's becoming purely black. Nothing is visible. But if I increase this, you can see I'm able to see them. But it doesn't mean that I will increase, because a lot of noise will come. So you need to be mindful that which slider you are modifying and how much you are modifying that value. So maybe I will move very slightly like this. That's it. Okay. Because my main focus was on the exterior of the image, not the inside part of the image. So that's how you can use this lighting, contrast, this parameter. Let me open this another image. If I increase the contrast, you can see. Now, as I said earlier, if I increase the exposure all the way high, you can see nothing is visible here. You are not able to see any cloud in this area, right? It's gone. This entire detail has been gone. So you need to, that's what I was telling you, that you can see we have some mountains here, we have some trees here. So you need to preserve the detail. You do editing only till the point till you are not losing any detail from the image. Okay, so I'll just slightly increase. That's it. I will not increase. So that's why it is always recommend that make your camera setting, your actual camera setting perfect as much as possible, because many people think that the software is a magic wand tool. It will help you in certain things, but not all the things. So if you capture your image properly, then the software will help you to take it on the next level. But if you think that let's capture any random image and software will fix that, that's not entirely true. So you can see I slightly increased the exposure and my image details is now visible. Now, so that's about the light part. Now let's come to camera. And for that, I will open this image. So this is a close-up shot of a wall clock. And I remember when I captured this image, the wall clock is white, but the light in that room is actually a bulb, a yellowish bulb, and that is the reason I'm getting a yellowish tone on my image. Okay, but I know, because I captured this image, I know that this image, this wall clock is not yellow. It is actually a white color base. So many times what happens when we capture a photograph in a certain environment, maybe in a indoor environment or maybe in an outdoor environment, we get a slightly different tone or tint of that particular or slightly different temperature of the image, right? So how to fix that? That is where our color part come into picture, where we can fix the temperature, tint, vibrance, and saturation. I will largely focus on temperature and tint because these are largely the technical value. The vibrance and saturation you might have seen in Photoshop also. So, and before that, we also have option white balance. What is white balance? So basically, it is said that white color need to remain white in any condition. Okay, so be it the white color should look white. Doesn't matter what is the lighting condition. So if you fix the light, if you make the white color white, the entire image will get fixed. Okay, and that's the reason if you have seen many times in the live shooting or film shooting, they put the camera in front of a white chart paper and they fix the white balance. Nowadays we have a auto white balance, so you do not have to worry about that. You can fix the lighting. It will automatically fix the white balance there. But let's say if you have an image which is not white balance, you can take a color picker tool which is available here on the corner like this, and then select that color. Let me just, yeah. Now you need to select that white color, which you know that particular pixel is actually a white pixel in the at the time of clicking the photograph. So if I select this white shining area like this, you can see immediately that yellow tint from my image has gone, because now I tell the software that this is the white you need to fix. So once the moment the software fixed that white color to the perfect white, the entire image got fixed. So you can see if I do the control set, you can see this is the yellowness which I was getting on my image. And the moment I select the white shine somewhere here, it actually fixed my image. So white balance is the first thing you should do if you think that your camera is not properly calibrated in that particular environment. I have one more image related to this only. This is the another image. I can use the white balance here also. We just select the white. So you need to find the white pixel which you can select. So here you can see again this image got the yellow tint has been gone. I can increase the exposure also slightly like this. So this is what the photo editing is all about. That when you capture the image, you can increase the exposure so that more details should be visible. Fix the colors so that it should not have any kind of a tint on the image. Now, if I come to this image, now in this image also, if I use the temperature option instead of using the white balance, if I use the temperature will go all the way from cold to warm. So this is cold and this is warm. Okay. And temperature get calculated in Kelvin. So in the center we have a around, you can say, 5600 5200 to 6000 Kelvin. So this is in the center is the neutral color. But if I make it temperature to more colder, you can see you are getting like a bluish tone, more like a winter kind of a season. Okay. But if I move this towards right, you are getting more yellowish tone, more like a summer kind of a season. So this temperature will also help you to actually bring out the exact movement, exact the color and the light of that particular moment when you captured your image. When you are at the neutral, neutral is zero. Zero means it is around 5200 to 6000 Kelvin. That is the temperature value. Most of the flash which we purchase from the market, I'm sure all of you have seen those external flash which we put on a DSLR camera. The default value of a flash is set on 5200 to 6000 Kelvin only. The tube light which we have in our house are also set between 5200 to 6000 Kelvin only. So that's the you can say sort of a neutral range which you can use. So a couple of more images. I showed you this image. This is the another image which I can work upon. I can show you how to fix this. Yeah, you can see it's immediately become white. I can increase the exposure. I cannot increase exposure a lot because you can see there is some shining area which becoming very, very shiny. So maybe what I can do, I can decrease the highlight. See? Once I decrease the highlight, that shining area will not that shiny. So all these highlighting area will more like a shines. If I show you the shadow part, so this will make the dark area more darker. So as I said, our aim is to retain the details of the image and not to lose any detail. If I go all the way to -100 in shadow, you can see a lot of dark area near at the bottom part. But if I put it neutral, you will able to see the detail that it's a backpack, which is put it up there. So that's on the light and camera. We have a lot of other options in the camera. So, but largely if you are a photographer and if you love to do photography and if you want to edit your images, not a lot, but to make it looks good, then you need to mastery yourself in these parameter: exposure, contrast, highlight, shadow, these four, and then this temperature and tint. These are the five fixed parameters. That's it. If you know this and you know how to do photography, that's the only thing is required. Nothing more, nothing less. The other things, as I said, are for cosmetic changes. But to balance out any image perfectly, only these 4 5 parameters will good enough to make your image balanced. In fact, if you are sending out your photographs for any competition, many competitions say very explicitly that do not share a edit photograph. When they say edit means they are talking about cosmetic changes. You are allowed to do a little bit on the exposure and brightness. Those things you can do, but not any cosmetic editing. Let me open one another image and show you some more examples. So let's take example of this image only. So now we have an option called color mixer, and in color mixer we will select the color. You can see this is the option color mixer where we will select the color and change the color. So I will select the color here. So this one is the yellowish, and now I will be able to change the color. See, I convert that yellowish card into green, orange. Maybe I take it orange, and then I will increase the saturation slightly. So you can see this is the original yellow color, and now this is the orange tone. So these kind of cosmetic changes also, I'm sure all of you must do these kind of thing in Photoshop, but it is very easily you can do and very quickly you can do inside Lightroom also by selecting the color. If any of your color is not available here, then you can use this pick whip tool, color picker tool to select your color. The first option is the hue. Hue means color. So I selected the color, which is orange. The second is the saturation. I selected saturations means how bright that color should be visible. So you can see how much this orange color should be visible. So maybe if I go all the way to 0, it will become like a gray scale or black and white. But I can increase the orange value here. And luminous is more like on the brighter side. Should this orange color should be more shiny or should towards more lightening or towards more darker orange. So you can control the luminance also of the same hue or same color like this. So you can see the earlier version was this one, which is yellow, and now I have this orange one. So now these are cosmetic changes. These are nothing to do with your photography skill or the images which you are capturing. But yeah, of course, if you have any image and you want to do some artistic, you want to do some creative things with that image, you can use all these options. There are different mode is given. So either you can use color mixer or you can use a point color option also. In point color, you need to select the color and then you can change hue, saturation, and luminance. Color grading, this is also one option we have provided where you can control the highlight, shadow, and midtone. Highlight is this shining area. Shadow is this dark area like this tire and the backside of this tire. Okay. And midtone is basically the in between the range of these two colors. Okay, so the other options which we have is for texture clarity. So if you have any image and you feel that the texture is not coming out properly, then you can simply, you will able to increase this texture value. You can see now the texture is more vibrant. Of course, do not go all the way to 100. It will make the image little not slightly weird. So make sure you, if you think that the details are not coming out properly in your image, you can slightly increase the value like this. Okay, so this is about the various options to use to edit your photograph. Now let me come to the masking option, which is a great feature. So suppose I have this photograph where I have multiple faces and I want to make some editing on these faces. Maybe I want to make them look slightly brighter or more sharpened. So if you are using Photoshop, you need to make a selection and then you use various parameters to do that. Here we have a AI-driven feature. What I will do, I will click on, let it get, I will click on this option, which is a mask tool, and it is able to detect all the people in my image. So this is person one, two, three. So this is actually on the third one, it's actually detecting two people together. So, but let's say if I go with the first person, if I click on first person, then it will provide me option. What do you want to select? Do you want to select facial skin, body skin for the entire body, or maybe do you want to select lips, teeth, hair? So maybe I will select facial skin and I will click on create. And what it will do, it will actually create a mask for me. And now if I increase the exposure, you can see the exposure is only working on the facial skin, not anywhere else. So this is a great way to quickly enhance my image slightly. Let's say I will go back to my another image, another person's photograph. Click here, people. Again, I will select the second person and I will select facial skin. Click add. Now on this person, I can again. Now you can see I am able to label both the person on the same value. Why it is happening on the same value? Because both these person, the person one and the person two, are part of one mask one. If I want that to separate them, I need to create a new mask layer. So on a separate mask, I can have a separate people, and then I can play with the same parameter, which is your light, contrast, highlight, all these options. This option is not only able to detect human, it will also able to detect sky also. So this is my another image. In this image, there is no human, so you can see no people found. And if I want to select only subject, I can select only this plane. Or if I want to select only sky, I can select that sky also. So you can see the AI is detecting the sky here. Let it detect. And you can see immediately this red overlay will give you an idea that the sky was detected. So now since the sky is detected here, I can increase the exposure, I can decrease the exposure, maybe I will decrease the contrast, increase the highlight slightly, or maybe I want to have some drama in my image, so I will go all the way something like this. So you can see how quickly I was taking a reflection of my sky without affecting any other object in my image. Now, if I want some, let me play with some color option also. I want to make it more like an evening time. The flight is landing towards evening time, so I want to make it more yellowish because the sun is about to set. So I will increase my temperature here. So you can see it's only working on the sky at the back. So this is a great way to detect the certain object as a maybe human or a sky or any other foreground object. And all of this you can access with this masking tool, which is available here. Now, On top of that, we have a healing tool, which is like content aware tool, which you all of you have already used it inside Photoshop. So we have this same tool here also. I will take this tool. Maybe I do not want this particular distracting object which is visible here. I want to remove this. I will simply make a selection and it will get removed. So same thing, what you do in Photoshop, you can do those things on the images here also. Then we have a crop tool. So this is again the same cropping which we do inside Photoshop. You can crop your images like this by moving a slider, or we do provide certain size also, 1:1, 2:2. You can select those sizes also, or maybe you want to do pre-form kind of a cropping, that also you can do like this. And at any given time you want to go back to your original image, reset edit 1, and all the way you can go back to your original image. Now, let's say you like any effect which you have applied, let's say you change certain parameter on any image, and now you want to apply the same parameter on the other image. What you can do, simply come here and click on this option, copy edit setting. You can simply copy all the editing which you have made on this image, and you can paste that setting on multiple image in one click. Simply select all the other images, and you suppose, let's say I increase the, just to showcase here, I will increase the exposure here, and now I will copy edit setting here. I will come here, I will right click and click on paste edit setting, and immediately that exposure will get applied here also. Of course, after applying, you might have to make some minor tweaks also, because for every image, the setting will be different. It's not like one size fit all kind of a thing. But it's a great way to at least start like applying the base setting across all your images and then making some finer tweaks in those parameters. All right, so that's it from my side today. I'll try to cover all the important features. Of course, there are a lot of options out there. And as I suggest, do give it a try, Adobe Lightroom. It's a pretty powerful application. All the professional photographers, or maybe even people who do hobby photography, they use a lot a Lightroom. So I would suggest give it a try, and let us know how it's working. And I'll see you in the next session. Thank you, everyone.